Hey everyone, welcome to a new video. So when I was looking through a bunch of Korean profiles, as I do for the weird builds video, I noticed there were two mid laners that are being played a ton, and one of these was really new. So Dyna is getting more popular every day, banned more, and winning way more than last patch. So we're going to go over why that happened and how to abuse the new trend. To go into that, we have to look at Talon as well though, who is almost up to a 25% ban rate in Korea. In Europe, it's about 3%. In North America, it's about 5%. Also, he is now the most popular mid laner in Korea, played 2 to 3 times as much as other regions. Now, normally I won't redo a video focusing on two champions specifically, but it's really different from what we have over here at the moment. And also, if you're watching this video and you're golden below or even below diamond, this is probably the easiest way to get some elo right now. They're both very strong, but they both fit the same playstyle: push the wave, roam, and kill people, which I think is the most consistent way to win a solo queue as a mid laner. So let's look at Dyna first, because she's kind of the new one, right? She's a lot like Syndra anyway, because she's mostly a stat check champion. If you have enough AP or you have enough penetration, you full combo and they either die or they don't. Really, there isn't much else to it or much avoidable damage. So really, when she dives in, it's just a check of stats to see who is going to come out on top and who is going to die. Korea especially as well love aggressive champions, and Dyna is going to stomp a lot of lanes, win a lot of lanes, and get a lot of kills. So that is kind of why she can come in and out of the meta so often, like from out of nowhere really. But this time it was something that seemed pretty small, and honestly kind of still seems small. In 9.13, she was given a new effect on her Q. The tip of the arc reveals Fog of War for a short duration. It also apparently is more consistently accurate to where your cursor is, which obviously helps with a skill shot, and travels slightly faster. It might not seem like a big deal, but hitting that Q is the most important part about a whole kit, right? If you miss that, you can't combo properly and you lose a lot of damage. Making that more reliable just made it more likely that she can use all of her damage and get way more kills, which is actually exactly what is happening now. If we look at the patch, for about 5 or 6 days, nobody even realized that she was actually any better. Then all of a sudden, twice as many people started to play her, and now we're up to being one of the most popular mid laners. This is the pick rate graph for the last 4 patches, and you can tell there is a massive difference between now and where we were a couple of months ago. You can also see the win rate has spiked up, and that happened as soon as the changes came in, but it's also dipping a tiny bit now just because so many more people are playing her and some of them are first time. Another really big part to it though is Dyna is really good against other assassins like Zed and Talon, who are really popular in Korea, and she is seen as a good answer, especially after her Zhonya's. She's going to be able to burst them as well. She can dodge their return damage and even has a shield to mitigate some of it earlier. This is the second half of why Dyna is suddenly so much better and more popular in Korea now, because she counters the meta. The best part is as well that she is not that hard to pick up and play. So the idea of this video is you could watch it the entire way through, pick her, and you can actually start to win straight away. She's really good at farming, and she has very good wave clear, and she has a very straightforward combo to dive in and get work done. With such good wave clear though, you can push the wave and then you can roam around, which is an assassin's wet dream. Basically, the entry level for Dyna is way lower than other champions, and it is way lower than other assassins, and that is why she can become so good so quickly. Before we look at Talon, we're going to go over how they do it in Korea for Dyna. It's a little bit different. So first up, Rune Page is actually similar. Electrocute procs on your full combo, so nothing else really makes sense. And then you got Sudden Impact, Eyeball Collection, but the others are good as well. Ghost Pro actually is very good, and then Ravenous for the healing. Absolute Focus and Gathering Storm are the most popular in Korea as your secondary. We don't really use Absolute Focus a ton anymore, but with Dyna, you will be diving into a fight full health pretty much to one-shot somebody. You need to be above 70%, and normally you will be at the start of the fight at least, so it adds about 30 AP or up to that at the start, which is almost a blasting one. In Europe and North America, we do see a lot of Spellbinder Rush, but in Korea, it's not used anywhere near as much really. Spellbinder, when fully active, is 200 AP. The death cap is 170, buffing itself up with its passive, and that is always active. The default in Korea is normally 2 Doran's Rings for a better lane phase and then straight into a death cap rush. It shouldn't really work like that, but it does really. Like, your base damage is pretty high, your AP ratios are high as well, so this is a way to beat that stat check that we were talking about before. Normally it is Spellbinder afterwards because it's 120 AP on its own, which is increased by 40% because of the death cap, remember, so it's just a ton of AP from 2 items. The more AP you get, the more chance you have of beating that stat check, just charging into people pretty much. And then it's stuff like Zhonya's afterwards, Void Staff is good, Lich Bane can be really good for towers, especially Nash's, Morello, and Banshees. Moving into our other champion, we kind of have to understand this because he is the best in Korea at the moment. Like, Talon has a lot more depth to him. The biggest difference between Korea and other regions is that Talon wins more games before 20 minutes, so they're way more aggressive. Most of the time, they will try to cheese at level 2 and pick up a very early kill with his Q in melee range for the guaranteed crit and then ignite with the bleed. Since Talon preys on mages so much as well, Korea have actually started to use Aatrox mid as a decent counter, by the way. He can like push just as hard, not that easy to burst down, and has the healing. Another difference is Mobi boots are bought in about 90% of games in Korea instead of about 60% in other regions, with the whole idea being grab the Tiamat, start to push, and then roam to find others. This is why it's banned so much, because it's not just mid lane that can lose, and actually often it's not even the mid laner that does lose their lane. It's another lane that Talon decides to roam to and focus that ends up getting completely screwed. His burst is insanely high, and a lot of it is AoE damage as well, so he can pick up more than one kill, but I don't think Talon falls off quite as hard as some other assassins. The thing is, Talon is very good at 0 all the way to like 3 items really, and this is where most Korean games are decided. I'm not focusing a ton on Talon because he is sort of a known hidden gem. I think for some people, Korea is just way more hype about it. I have to kind of explain it though, because that's one of the big reasons, like him being so popular and so good, why Diana is so good now as well, even after her changes with this on top. This is a bit different for me. I don't tend to focus on a few picks, but let me know if you enjoyed the video. Hopefully you did. Thank you for watching, and remember to like the video if you did, dislike it if you didn't. But for now, I will leave you with robots.